Good morning, everybody. There we go. Well, for me, it's a pleasure to be here in Lexington on the rolling hills and the white fences, but also to be here in this great distillery. My colleagues are pretty jealous of me being here today. They think I'm going to be testing all day long, but what do they know? My name is Jeff Bean. I'm the Managing Director of the Partner America program with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. For those that aren't familiar with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, it's been around for about 87 years. It's a nonpartisan organization. It's comprised of mayors of 30,000 and greater. And the role of the organization is really to promote the development of effective national policy for education, transportation, energy, and a number of other issues that we have before us. The conference helps us strengthen the federal-city relationship by having meetings with the administration, cabinet members, alongside our colleagues across the country. Provides mayors with leadership and management tools, and most importantly, it creates a forum in which mayors can share ideas and best practices. Mayor Gray has been attending our meetings, and he sits on the Committee on Environment and the Committee on Tourism, Arts, Parks, Entertainment, and Sports Committee. The Conference of Mayors knows how important small business is to the local economy. So they established the Partner America program about 20 years ago. The Partner America program is a strategic alliance between the U.S. Conference of Mayors and American Management Services, providing mayors with resources and technical assistance and best practices. I'd like to have now Sean Sanders, the Partner America Regional Director, come up here and just say a few words about the Partner America program. Sean?
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor Gray and staff for hosting this event. Thank you, Jeff Bean and the U.S. Conference of Mayors for recognizing Mayor Gray today. My name is Sean Sanders, and I'm the Regional Director for the Partner America Initiative. We may have met with some of you at your place of business in the past. Is anybody here familiar with the Partner America program? No? Do we have any business owners here today? Show of hands? Couple, maybe? Are there? Okay. Any aspiring business owners? Anybody ever have those days where they wish they weren't business owners? Okay. So what Partner America is, it is the United States Conference of Mayors Business Growth and Development Program. And it was created about 20 years ago. And it is actually the longest consecutive U.S. Conference of Mayors partnership. Over that time, we've worked with a little bit more than 10,000 business owners, and we've helped them do things such as grow their sales, increase profits, attract and hire quality people. That's a big issue these days. And we do that by providing assistance in helping them identify and overcome weaknesses and challenges within their organization. Now, normally there's a nominal fee involved in this program, but as a courtesy to Mayor Gray today, we're waiving all fees to area businesses that are in attendance today. So if anybody would like some information on the program, I'll hang out for a little while and we can connect. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Sean. I have 7 children, so I'm used to this loud voice. So if you can't hear me, I'll just speak up a little bit more. So we're gathered here today to celebrate the success of small business in Lexington, and this is a prime example of it, but also to recognize your mayor for his efforts on behalf of small businesses. Small business is big business here in Lexington. Mayor Gray has helped create a business-friendly environment here in Lexington, making it easy to start and grow a business. We'll hear about those stories a little bit later. Under Mayor Gray's administration, the Jobs Fund has almost entirely been used by small businesses. Workforce grants have helped train people who many will end up with small businesses. Under the workforce grant, the city works with local organizations that train people under the entrepreneurship program, and this year they've already had 5 new businesses started. Mayor Gray and the city partner with the Chamber of Commerce, Commerce Lexington, for economic development efforts. Through that partnership, A rental assistance for SBIR companies was funded. Companies had to qualify at the federal and state level, and then if they located in Lexington, they qualified for a one-year rental assistance program, bringing more small businesses to Lexington. Also, through the Chamber's partnership, the city funds a minority and small business program. The director of that program mentors and assists small startups through the business plan phase as well as funding. He also operates a minority business accelerator program. And in 2011, many of you know, Lexington was ranked by the fourth best city for business and careers by Forbes magazine, the fifth best city for young professionals in 2008, and the sixth best value city in 2011 by Kiplinger. Lexington small businesses have a true champion and friend in Mayor Gray. And today, the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the Partner America program are proud to recognize him for his efforts. Sean, you want to bring this? On behalf of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and our president, Steve Benjamin, Mayor of South Carolina, and our executive director, Tom Cochran, it is my pleasure to present Mayor Gray with the Small Business Advocate Award for his dedication to the small business community. Mayor?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did everything spell right?
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Well, Jeff, thank you all very, very much, and welcome to Lexington, where things are on the right track, especially for small business. Let me also say thank you to the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the Partner America program for recognizing the really extraordinary things that are happening right here in Lexington, especially as they relate to our flourishing small business community. Awards like this one are meaningful because they represent something that's important to all of us, and that is good paying jobs and opportunity. We all know that a good job is important because good jobs give purpose and meaning in life. That belief has only been confirmed in my role as mayor. And that's why I've made it one of my top goals, creating good paying jobs. It takes a good team of people who have their finger on the pulse of things as well, on business trends, and follow the shifts in the business climate. Kevin Atkins, right here. Kevin is our Chief Development Officer. Kevin is our Chief Development Officer for the city. He's been working with me now for almost 8 years. He and our Workforce Development Manager, Elodie Dickinson. Is Elodie here? Elodie is here. Elodie, you are doing great work. They have invested lots of energy, lots of calories, good calories, and a lot of good talent in focusing on the needs of our small business community, in advising and assisting them toward resources that can help them lay the groundwork and find the workers, the employees that they need to make their own investments a success. And as the city also invests, we are seeing results. We'll hear a few of those success stories in just a minute. We're also seeing how these successes can compound themselves. As these small businesses succeed and grow, they pave the way for other successful businesses. And as the list continues to grow, people and organizations that follow along and keep track, they take notice. That's why Lexington has recently been ranked on several national lists as a good place to live, to work, to get an education, even to retire, and was ranked the fourth best managed city in the country. All of these things, clearly, I'm a little bit proud of that. All of these things lead back to one thing, a good business climate and the jobs that follow, often from startups and small businesses. In 2013, and Jeff mentioned this, we started the Lexington Jobs Fund to help with new jobs, with growing new jobs. The fund was designed for higher paying jobs, and to date, 176 good paying jobs have been created by this fund alone, translating to over $10 million in new payroll, almost entirely in small businesses. coupled with our workforce grants, which help train workers, many of which end up working for small businesses, our partnerships with Commerce Lexington and the University of Kentucky, our minority and small business program. Tyrone, thank you for being here. We are seeing results. And some of those results are literally transforming entire neighborhoods as places that were often just drive-through areas, like National Avenue, Jefferson Street, and right here in the Distillery District. They've all come alive. They are now vibrant and full of energy. They become destinations within our city. Now, local craft distilleries, tech companies, new restaurants and hotels, manufacturing and corporate headquarters have made Lexington their home right here, and they are proving that our city is now one of the best cities to start or grow a business. Years ago, my family, I actually moved to Lexington, opened a one-man shop, I'd say today a one-person shop, as a small business. In fact, our business started, Jeff, you might appreciate this, our business started in 1960 with a $10,000 SBA loan. Today employs almost 1,000 people across the country. Now we're proud of that, but what I'm really proud of is to say that it started as a small business with that very modest SBA loan. Now, looking around this space today, it's hard for some of us, this space that we're in right here, it's really challenging for some of us to think back and remember just a few years ago what it looked like. Back in 2008, a guy from over in Washington, D.C. saw inspiration in this neglected space, and he revived one of our state's iconic bourbon brands, James E. Pepper. Amir P. had a vision, and he set about making that vision into a reality. Now, here we are in the distillery room of a bourbon that was once believed to be long gone. And this is another product of our city's job fund. Amir, come tell us a little bit about your story and how it came to be.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much and good morning. It's good to be here today with all of you, and Mayor, thank you very much for your kind words. This really has been a 10-year odyssey to rebuild this historic distillery and relaunch this historic brand. And I couldn't have had a better city to do this project in than right here in Lexington. We really hit the jackpot. I was first introduced to Mayor Gray over 5 years ago in 2013. At the time, the old Pepper Distillery had been abandoned for over 50 years and was in a terrible state of disrepair, to put it mildly. And the distillery district that we all know today did not exist. So everybody had to have a little bit of vision about what we were trying to do. I had been invited to a dinner by Chris Kelly, one of the partners in the building here. And as we were furthering our discussions on partnering together on the project, we went out to dinner one night, and Chris mentioned to the mayor that the guy who owned the Pepper whiskey brand was going to be attending the dinner that night, and asked if he could drop by and show a little support for the project. And he did. He made the time to come by and say hello. He was very gracious and very supportive. And to me, that really spoke volumes about him and about the city. And that initial show of support continued over the years as we worked on this very complicated and very expensive project. Building a distillery is not an easy thing to do. And so the mayor and his administration, really everybody in this city, were extremely supportive and always had an open door. And you could really tell that the city supported our vision and was sincere in its mission to create jobs and to further economic development in Lexington through our project to revitalize the historic and neglected part of the city and bring the Pepper Distillery back to Lexington. Now, as a bootstrapping independent entrepreneur who over a decade built a kind of one-man whiskey company that's grown, the Jobs Fund was actually a very critical component to the project for me, as it really helped to bridge the gap in having to hire new people before we could get an immediate return on their work. Our obligation to the program was to create at least 3 full-time jobs. And I'm happy to say that as we stand here today, we've created over 10 jobs And we have, or we will, I'm sure, create a lot more in the very future. And these are very good paying jobs. The entry-level positions are at least double the minimum wage in the United States. So I think it's been very successful for us and for the city. And our distillery has also garnered national media attention for its awesome tours and historic nature. And a whiskey that we actually recently crafted on site was proclaimed the world's best rye whiskey at the prestigious New York World Spirits Competition. Now, all this stuff, while I like to boast about it, thank you. I think, thank you very much, thank you. I think it's important to note that these things also put Lexington directly in the national spotlight. And so I think that these things are proof that smart support by a city in the right businesses can create a lot of jobs and can create a cascade of positive effects that follow. And so for that, I'd just like to thank the mayor and thank the city for all of your support. Very well done.
I'll give you this back.
Amir, thanks. He was telling me as we walked in, I think you are now, James E. Pepper is #1 on the craft distillery tour.
#1 on TripAdvisor for distilleries in Lexington, and #7 on TripAdvisor overall.
There we go. There we go. Well, at almost any time of the day, if you're walking around Lexington, you'll maybe run into somebody who's got a cup of Commonwealth coffee cup with them. In fact, Wes, I think you've got one right now, don't you? Right. There are folks gathering at Cup of Commonwealth, enjoying a cup of coffee or another of their drinks, either a Cup of Commonwealth or Chocolate Holler in downtown Lexington. Salvador Sanchez, most of us know him as Sal, saw a market. In fact, he searched around. He'll probably tell, you going to tell this story of searching around? Okay, he's going to tell this story of searching around. He searched around the country to find a place where he'd be welcomed. And he found it in Lexington. Today, Cup of Commonwealth and Chocolate Holler, those two shops, along with his other business, which is Magic Beans Roasters, are serving some of the best coffee products anywhere. So, if you had a chance to grab a cup of coffee before the event, as Wes has, you know what I'm talking about. So, Sal, tell us about your story. Tell us how you did it.
So I'm going to sway a little bit from that, and I'm just going to kind of talk about Lexington. Lexington is a special place. I saw this from a distance over a decade ago. It was a growing city, it was a vibrant city, it was a unique city. Now, it is a growing city, it is a vibrant city, it is a unique city. In late 2012 and early 2013, I visited on multiple occasions to decide if this was a place for me to open a small business. What I found was a growing brewery scene, an evolving foodie scene, a love for advocating local, and most importantly, the feeling of community, an unmistakable energy. You felt it from West 6, you felt it from Sunrise Bakery, you felt it from any of Weed and Michael or Rob Perez's restaurants, you feel it here, now, from the Distillery District. There's something special about Lexington. The community was the greatest factor in choosing this incredible city to open a quaint, unassuming coffee shop called A Cup of Commonwealth, founded on a mission: embrace community, serve others, create culture. I didn't know much about Lexington or how it would accept transplants, but quickly found out. We found something inspirational, something special. On December 9th, 2013, our workday started with a register drawer empty and a shattered window. In the middle of the night, someone had broken in, stolen some money, and fled. We stayed there through the night until the opening baristas arrived. When they arrived, my business partner and I left to run home, showered, got ready for the day. As I walked out the door, I told the baristas, we don't have any money until the bank opens, so give people their drinks for free. On my way back, my phone rang. It was our shift lead. She said, Sal, you won't believe what's happening. Then she proceeded to tell me the first customer that came in tried to pay with a 20. She said, I can't take your money. We were robbed last night, so there's no change to give you. It's on us today. The customer told her to put the money in the drawer. The next customer did the exact same thing. The third paid with their card and bought a pay it forward for a stranger. Someone else didn't have any money, so he dropped off a piggy bank to collect money for the broken window. Another customer dropped off an envelope full of cash. People kept coming in and buying pay it forwards for future customers. People dropped off food and drinks. We lost track of the outpouring of love. We had only been open 5 months. No reason for anyone to treat us as if we had been friends for decades. But so many people did. The people of Lexington understand people come first. And we learned, and we saw, and we felt how to embrace community, serve others, and create culture once again. It doesn't stop there, though. It stretches to so many areas. Our Chamber of Commerce has consistently been an advocate for small businesses and finds ways to push Lexington small businesses forward. While we had construction occurring only steps away from our front door, the Chamber had meetings at our shop, they sent people our way, and they checked in on us. Those small gestures do not go unnoticed. Bluegrass Community Foundation has worked behind the scenes in Lexington for years, avoiding accolades, but they do good over and over again, day after day. There probably isn't a single nonprofit in Lexington and many for-profit businesses in Lexington that have not been positively impacted by this foundation. And when construction was on our front steps, they had meetings in the shop, they came in and bought drinks, and they encouraged others to come visit us. Those small gestures do not go unnoticed. And to that construction, for those of you that don't know about it, we have had construction in front of our shop for some time now. One of the reasons is preparation for the transformational Town Branch Commons project. It's one of those things where you remind yourself you've got to take a little bad to experience all the good down the road. I bring this up because it's important to point out how it has been handled. We have been given weekly updates as to where they are with the construction by Brandy Peacher at the city and her team. Whenever someone from the city comes in, they give us information, they ask us how we are doing. The construction workers on site have been kind and given the baristas up-to-date information daily. These small gestures do not go unnoticed. They have set a new standard as to how a construction team should operate, how we all should operate, with understanding and compassion. They tried not to take up too much space while they worked. They worked diligently and efficiently. They ensured there was always a way to our front door. They treated us as a part of their community. We are ever so grateful. And even outside of my little world of a Cup of Commonwealth, Chocolate Holler, and Magic Bean Coffee Roasters, there are more small gestures. Lexington is about nonprofits working hand in hand to make sure Lexington is a little better than the way that we found it. There are business owners of the same industry supporting one another because they know a rising tide lifts all ships. When Saab had his injury, the community showed up. When all those mom and pop businesses were broken into, the community showed up. When we were worried about construction, the community showed up. Being a leader is about showing up. It's about being present and creating new leaders. We're so lucky to have had Jim Gray for so many years. I've had the privilege of serving him coffee for 5 years, the honor of calling him a friend, and have been lucky living in a city that he has led. So much of what I have just spoken about is because of that man's leadership, that man's presence. He showed up day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So much of the way this community responds to challenges and obstacles is because of that man. Through his leadership, we have been reminded that Lexington isn't special just because of him, because of this business, or this nonprofit, or that person. Lexington is special because of how the community reacts, how it shapes, and how it develops. It is a community that reminds us that we are in this together. We are here to serve one another through the simple gestures that do not go unnoticed. A pay it forward here, a hug there, a high five tomorrow, a cup of coffee in a week. We are meant to be shoulders for each other to cry on and shoulders for each other to stand on. That's community. That's Lexington. That is the culture Jim Gray has worked so hard to create, and is why I am so proud that I took a chance on this city 5 years ago and realized that there was no better place to find a leader, a city, and a community. Lexington is a very special place. Thank you, Lexington. Thank you, Jim.
My goodness, Sal, can I get a copy of that, please, and so I can frame it? Vice Mayor, you know what I'm talking about, right? I think perhaps this guy, when he completes making a world-famous coffee brand, he ought to go into public service with that capacity, don't you think, Linda? Salvador, thank you. Sal, thank you so much. It was just a few weeks ago that I was in need of some work on my home HVAC system. And who did I call? Gwen, I called your folks. I called Greenbox, and they did great work. Gwen Riley is another one of those visionaries who saw a need and set about filling it. Her company, Greenbox Heating and Air, is another great success story. So Gwen, will you come share a little with us about Greenbox?
I started Greenbox at the height of the recession with no employees, no customers, and undercapitalized. Not exactly a formula for success. But what I know is that if you have a plan and if you're willing to work hard enough, anything's possible. I just needed to tell our story and find opportunities because I know that big dreams attract big dreamers. In the first place, I found that openness and that willingness to help us was in the city of Lexington through the Minority Business Enterprise Program. Lexington is committed to diversity among vendors. Doesn't mean you get the opportunity, it means you get a fair shot. And in our industry, I will say there are barriers. There are barriers for a woman in a male-dominated industry, and all I needed was the shot, an opportunity to prove ourselves. So as we got opportunities with the city of Lexington, we made money, but we had revenue, but the other thing it did for us was it created credibility for us. So when we would go to other folks and we would offer our services, by knowing that we met the high standards of the city of Lexington, gave us instant credibility and gave us opportunities for additional work. We've also been supported by Commerce Lexington. Over the years, we have moved 6 times in 7 years due to growth. And so we've had a lot of ribbon cuttings, and we appreciate that support. Our greatest victory was in May. We had our last ribbon cutting in which we purchased a 38,000 square foot facility, repurposed a previous warehouse into office and warehouse space. Commerce Lexington used its resources to help us connect to opportunities with the city, with the state, to help us find incentives to provide jobs, to find work programs or work incentives to help us to grow our business. And that just set us on a different level. And we all know what that partnership can do to help the economy, to help us drive sales, create jobs, create profit. But what also we sometimes overlook is when we are supported as small businesses, we can make greater impacts in our community. For example, when I spend my money, I ask 3 questions of myself. First, I want to know if I'm spending money buying a good or service from this company, do they employ people locally? And the next thing I ask is the ownership local? Because I know if the ownership is local, then they are probably going to reinvest in our community. But the third thing I ask is, does that ownership have a give back strategy? Because as leaders of this community, it's not about increasing our net worth, it's about being an influencer and helping others. It's not our government's job to fix our problems, but as business owners, we have a responsibility to make an impact. We support a lot of nonprofits. Give you an example of one is Revive Ministries. And one of their programs is a men's recovery home. It's called Revive Lifehouse. It's a 12-month residential program. 276 men have walked through those doors in the past 2.5 years, seeking hope, healing, community, just wanting to be revived back to life. And what they get is a foundation in faith and a new beginning. Most of these men never thought they would get a second chance, and now they are having those opportunities. And it allows us as business owners to have new folks who are very appreciative of jobs. You want to find someone who cares about their job and who will work hard for you. Find someone who has been at their lowest point and give them a second chance. And that's what we do. That's what Lexington is. That's the heart of who we are. And it starts with our leadership, with Mayor Gray and our city officials. We thank you for that. Lexington is a great place to have a business. It's a great place to be supported and to offer support to others. And Lexington should be recognized today for this award, because we just do these things because that's who we are. But Mayor Gray, thank you for your support and your continued commitment to business.
Y'all, this is really about, and Gwen, you said it well, this is really about crowding the winner's circle. My name may be on this plaque, but this is really recognition for Lexington. That's the big deal. There's no I in teamwork. This is all about the teamwork that we're experiencing today and that we will experience for sure in the future. Finally, it was just about a week ago that we were at the ribbon cutting for another one of our Jobs Funds recipients, Michael Baer. We were at your place, Michael, just down the road from here to cut a ribbon on Fusion Corp's new offices and headquarters. The energy and the excitement there was remarkable. Fusion Corp is another great example of how a technology company can be successful right here in Lexington. And Michael is leading the charge there. So Michael, tell us a little bit more about it.
Thank you, Mayor Gray. I appreciate you having me here to speak, but also congratulations. I know you say that what you just said, like there's no I in team, but every team has a quarterback and has a leader, and you are that for us. So thank you for being that. I also want to thank one of the kind of unsung behind-the-scenes heroes that's in the room today, and Wes Holbrook. You do so much work behind the scenes, and he needs a round of applause from all of us. So I appreciate it. So I told this story at the ribbon cutting. Fusion Corp was started about 14 years ago by my business partner, Daniel Boone, and that is his real name, Daniel Boone, and he is in the lineage of Daniel Boone, so just to clarify that up, it's okay. So Daniel started Fusion Corp in a broom closet with a computer, and just like every small business has unique stories, 14 years ago today, there was a guy in a broom closet that had a dream of creating a technology company. And happy at this moment in time that about 2 years ago, we were a recipient of the Jobs Fund, and we spun out another company called Gamify, which created an app for Visit Lex. And one of the things about our city, which I think is so special, which everyone in this room already knows, is that it's a sense of community and everyone working together. And at our ribbon cutting event, not only do we have the mayor's office, and we had Visit Lex, and we had the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Office, and it was just actually a sense of a whole community coming together to celebrate a win. And so as long as we can continue to provide those wins, and you guys continue to have the leadership for us to do that, I think the city has no limits. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.
I also want to recognize, before we finish up today, and I want to thank all of you all for coming out for this event, I want to recognize Councilmember Susan Lamb. Now, not only is she a council member, but she is also a member of the Jobs Fund Board, and we really appreciate, Susan, your work there. So, yeah, let's give her a hand. I'll wrap it up real quickly by saying one more big thank you, because it's a big deal. What Kevin has done over the last 8 years, Elodie working with you, Wes, Working with you in the mayor's office early on, and your work with the Jobs Fund has been just remarkable. Thank you so much. You know, when a really good foundation, I learned this in the construction business, foundation is essential to any good building. And when we're talking about creating good paying jobs, when we're talking about creating purpose and meaning in life through those good paying jobs, we're dependent on that good foundation. That's what Lexington has created. We're seeing that every day. And Jeff, thanks so much to you all, to the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and to the Partner America program. Guys, we really appreciate it very much. You're being here, you're showing up, and helping us celebrate some of the successes that we've had here in Lexington. Thank you all very much. And thank you all for being here.